Have you ever felt like you are just pretending to be good at your job? Have you ever felt like just a fake who doesn't belong in that place? Well, that's probably imposter syndrome. And that's something that is really common in tech and in software engineering. And basically, it's that internal belief that you are much worse than others perceive you. And let me just tell you, I've been there and it's hard to overcome because it's so easy to feel overwhelmed by everything in software engineering, like the amount of learning, the amount of possibilities of technologies, of problems to solve is just overwhelming. And it's really easy to feel like a fake and to feel like you are just faking it till you make it, really. But if you put in the work, that's usually not the case. So if you are feeling right now, as I described, unworthy and just not good enough, I will help you. I have some tips how to recognize imposter syndrome and how to, deal with it. Here are 5 simple questions and try to answer them honestly. And if you say yes more than 3 times, then you are probably suffering from imposter syndrome and we can do something about that, right? So, first question: do you secretly think that you are not as competent as people think you are? When you succeed, do you often attribute it to some external factor like luck, timing, or help of others rather than your own skill? Are you sometimes worried that people will find out that you are not as good as they believe you are? Do you downplay your achievements and hesitate to promote yourself or brag? Do you often feel like you don't belong into your team, field, company? Like you are just faking it? If you honestly answered yes more than 3 times, then we should, do something about it. And let's get to it. You are not alone in this. I went through quite severe imposter syndrome a while back, and I will just tell you how to start managing it. So let's get to it. So here are 5 tips to actually start managing your imposter syndrome. This first point I like to call name it to tame it. Because when you successfully realize that you might be suffering from imposter syndrome, there is already first step to the victory. Imposter syndrome is very common pattern, and a lot of very senior people, a lot of public speakers, a lot of public figures suffered from imposter syndrome and is suffering from imposter syndrome these days, and that should be reassuring to you. Now, the second point that really helped me was starting to keep a reality file, like a bragging list, if you want. So basically, start a document where you will write down all your achievements, however small, all the everyday wins. And then it's really easy to visualize how good in reality you really are. Because we human have one friend and slash enemy, and that's our brain. Our brain is our friend slash enemy. And I say that because it can be very deceiving and our memory can be very deceiving. So every time you will start feeling you are not good enough, go back to the document and see all that wins, all that feedback, everything that you wrote down. And this should help a lot. All right, point number 3, say it out loud. Find someone that you can trust, either a good friend slash colleague of yours or someone else, and just talk about the experience, talk it through with that person. And often you will realize that they are going through the same thing as you, and it really helps to have this shared experience. Even some of the guests on Software Engineering Tales on my podcast shared with me that they were basically going through the same thing, and that really helped me to realize that I'm better than I think I am. Okay, point number 4: focus on learning and continuous improvement rather than perfection. And I would add also, stop comparing yourself to others. Compare to yourself yesterday. Because in the end, what helped me a lot and what keeps me motivated is try to grow a better person every day, a better developer, a better dad, a better podcast host, anything you like. But just embrace all the small wins in, these small step improvements and this slow learning. Because progress and learning is in the end much more important than trying to achieve that perfection. And this should help a lot with your imposter syndrome too. So when you put it all together, we have our point number 5, and that's reframe that voice in your head to tell a different story. So basically, instead of you are worthless, you don't know what you are doing, tell something like, oh, a new opportunity to learn something new, and I will learn it, and then I will be better than yesterday. That's how I do that. That's how I reframe that imposter syndrome voice inside my head. So I encourage you to try that too, and let me know in the comments, how it went. And yeah, just let me know how you feel and reach out and we can chat. See you next time. Subscribe if you didn't already. Leave me a like, a comment, and see you around. Bye.